Hello, everybody, again. Uh, Again, after about a week and a half, yes, I was forced uh, to. I was forced on hiatus because my computer battery just went totally out, uh, and I ordered a new one. It was supposed to arrive the day after I ordered it, and it did not. And I thought about recording some videos on my phone for all of you, but all of my audio equipment is for my computer, not for my phone, so the quality of the videos would have been abysmal. And that's just not fair to any of you. So here I am now. I've got my computer back online, and I've been doing plenty of reading. Yes, this has been a little bit of a frustrating process getting this all back together, but I have been doing some reading. I've been enjoying that immensely, and so my Victober is still going very well. And so today I'll give you just a quick update pretty much on that and on a couple of books that I got this week to comfort myself. Um, and so here we go. First, this Victober, I told you guys that I was going to be finishing up. Well, I told you guys that I was going to be rereading Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. I ditched it. I did. I ditched Kidnapped because I had gotten myself a couple of really amazing collections of essays by some Victorian writers, Walter Pater and John Ruskin, and I haven't been able to put them down. Um, First of all, I'll show you here Walter Pater, Studies in the History of the Renaissance. This is just. Walter Pater was such an amazing stylist that, I mean, no matter what he wrote, he infused it with so much passion. There was so much passion in his writing. And then this extreme grace, this extreme uh, attention to detail, and it's all under the umbrella of a single theory that aesthetics are the primary concern of the artist. And yes, it seems very simple. The book is not very long, even, seems very simple, all of that good stuff. But the way he puts it all together is just, it's magnificent. This is a fantastic book. This is the guy who influenced the thinking of James Joyce, Oscar Wilde, Henry James, Virginia Woolf. This is the man. And what a oh, you guys really should. You should just give this a try. I mean, do. And then we have John Ruskin, Selected Writings. I love this man. I love his his ability to, in all of his essays, almost all of these are critical essays. He was the most powerful critic in the 19th century. But the wonderful thing about his writing is it doesn't seem to wear power very heavily. You don't get this sense of the great and influential and feared John Ruskin. Most of the writing here is just very he's very deeply involved in whatever he's looking at in each essay. It could be a painting, it could be a social problem, a political problem, it can be a book, whatever it is. He's deeply involved. He's very passionate, and he doesn't really seem to care if you believe what he believes. He's not trying to make you believe anything. He is just trying to show you something. I have this idea. I have this thought. What do you think? I'm going to put this across, and and even actually, he's not even really asking you, what do you think? He's just saying, I'm just putting this down. I love this. I love this thought, or I'm really concerned over such and such, and I was thinking. And it's fantastic. This is so fantastic. I can't. I've read almost the entire thing. It's so hard to put this down. It is so hard to put this down. If you can pick this up, if you want criticism as poetry, get this. It's wonderful. Then we have George Eliot's Middlemarch. I know, even in the light here, you can barely see the the title and the and the author's name, because yes, it's wearing off. It's all, it's. I love this edition though. I really do. It may be easy to easy to ruin, but I love this edition, and I love this novel. I don't even. Wow. Everything's here. Everything is here. You get philosophical theory, you get social and political theory, and you get characters that just, there's so much life in this novel. There's so much. It's a vital, a frequently electric and very almost, in the most real sense, it's us. It's the whole world. And it just, I mean, wow. I've read the first complete section, which is named after the protagonist, Dorothea. And I love that George Eliot takes the relationship between the sisters, Celia and Dorothea, and kind of makes it an upside down Taming of the Shrew sort of a thing between the two of them. Their relationship, it reminds me so much of that. And as for the main character, she definitely does shine. She's not in any way boring. She's not one of those kinds of characters that seems to be a conduit for all the rest of the story, all the rest of the cast. No, she is the focus, and deservedly so. She seems to answer that question. What would Katerina be like if she had a vast intellect and had to just reconcile that with the necessity of marriage in the Victorian era? And I love it. I love every moment of it. You have to, everyone has to read George Eliot's Middlemarch. Everyone. Okay, and then on to another wonderful novel. This one by Henry James. Yes, The Princess Casamassima. I've still been in the process of reading that one too. James was probably the only novelist I can think of who had the same breadth of consciousness, the same completeness of imagination and intellect in his fiction that George Eliot did. I mean, this is almost every novel of Henry James that I have read or even just dipped into, I have been thoroughly impressed by, and immediately just, they've invaded me, and they're never going to leave. Now, even the small passages that I have read in some of his works that I've only nosed around in a bit, they're never going to leave me. And The Princess Casamassima is a wonderful study of, I completely agree with Lionel Trilling when he said that it's a story of love, and of multiple different kinds. This is, I mean, it's not schmaltzy. That's none of that. You have to really read it to understand just how masterful Henry James was when it came to the idea of love. And it solidifies my theory, of course, as I described to you guys, that he, like Hawthorne, was a romanticist at heart who wrote somewhat realistic fiction. I mean, he was not a complete realist. He was more on that side. And again, it reads as all the other novels of his do, a little bit less so. The prose is a little bit different, but it reads like a dream, like a very vivid and very complex dream. And I love it. I love every last bit of it, every single bit. And there's a part in here where the protagonist meets his mother. His name's Hyacinth, and he meets his mother. And that scene is so painful, so beautiful, so incredibly just unforgettable that if and it's very early in the book, so once you read that, you're going to want to just devour the rest. It'll be very difficult for you to stop. I love this. I love it. You have to get it if you haven't already. Then I have Elizabeth Barrett Browning's selected poems. I've been still going through all of these. I read all of the sonnets, as I told you guys. I've read some of her ballads. And then I flipped to the back, and I've read almost all of her political verse. And, well, at least almost all the political verse that is featured in this particular book. It's just her way of writing about pretty much anything is she's so deeply involved. There's an empathy in this poetry that just, it shimmers on the page, and you can't, I mean, she was called in her time, upon the publication of these particular, of her political poems, she was called out of touch. It was, I mean, in more elegant terms, she was called stupid. There's just, it was very much misunderstood. It's very easy to misunderstand a poem, though, as far as I have seen. It's very easy to misunderstand, to misinterpret, and she was very heavily misinterpreted. So, seeing it now, though, it's just a sublime experience. Just the whole experience of reading Elizabeth Barrett Browning is, I can't describe it really to you. You have to experience it. You have to read it yourself. Wow. Just wow. Again, if you can pick this up, I highly, highly recommend it. I haven't read anything this Victober that I can't wholeheartedly, completely recommend to all of you. You need to read everything I am showing you. Okay, then I have Carlyle. Oh, my Carlyle, past and present. By Thomas Carlyle. This is a political and social commentary. That is what this is. But it is written similarly to the way that the French Revolution is written. Is very fat. Very fat. I suppose you would call it a prose poem on the French Revolution. This too, that reads the same way. It's much like a prose poem. And the thing that I really love about Carlyle, and the thing that I think everybody can love about Carlyle, is his his completely unbridled rage. Just all across the page, all you see is this beautiful literary fury. And it doesn't stop. So that is kind of a fair warning. It does not stop. So if you do pick up Carlyle, this one's a little one. This is a little book. Yeah, the print's a little bit small. You can see that here. See, print's a little bit small, but this is a little book. It's not much to get through, but indeed, fair warning. The energy is at the highest level at all times. So, I know that all of us readers, all of us avid readers, when we get involved in a book, we're fully invested, and this can exhaust you a little bit. It really can. I've never really been the kind, I thought, to need small breaks from anything that I'm reading. No matter how impassioned, no matter how sad, no matter how anything. I've never really needed breaks. There is so much energy in this, so much heightened rage that I've had to take small breaks here and there while reading it. But still, on the other hand, it is very difficult to put down because it is so you agree with him on so many areas, you look at so many things, and even when you don't agree, he sets your mind on fire. It is so okay. You have to read it though to really get a sense of it. I will, once I am finished with Victober. I doubt that I will have any of these books finished by the time Victober is out, but on maybe the last day of October, I'll read you guys a small passage from each one of the books that I've read this Victober to give you an idea of exactly why these are so freaking lovable and so freaking amazing. So there is that. That is how my Victober is going so far. So now, just a little bit on a couple of books that I got this week. I got, first of all, 101 Terrifying Tales, Great Ghost Stories. It's a Barnes & Noble book. It's just a bunch of, it kind of counts as a Victober read too, I suppose. I read a couple of the stories, but it's all from the Victorian era all the way through the early 20th century. And some of the stories in it are very scary, in that ghost story kind of way. Others of them are just very, very interesting. They're good. They're character studies, so they get you involved in a very different way. But I think one of the most memorable for me so far was one in which all of the ghosts appear as spiders. That was a really creepy one. So that was pretty interesting. The other one I got from Barnes & Noble was this one, the Bill of Rights primer. This was written by, and I really hope I am pronouncing his first name correctly because it deserves to be pronounced correctly. I think it's Akhil, Reed Amar, and Les Adams. Les Adams is a rather popular political writer, and he teamed up with a scholar on the Constitution and on political science. And they wrote this little thing about the Constitution, and particularly, of course, the Bill of Rights, its history, etc. And it's absolutely it's fascinating. It's written in such a style that by no means is it boring, and it is it really gives you a sense of the importance of what you're reading, but more a kind of a sense of urgency, not necessarily importance. Again, it's not boring and it is not dry. And despite the fact that it was co-written by a scholastic, the prose is not difficult, nothing like that. It's a very good read. It's very good. So if you can pick this up, this was $8. You can pick this up at Barnes & Noble in the at least I got it in the budget section. You can just pick it up there. It's fantastic. And then I got, before all of those, from Amazon, I pre-ordered it, and it came in about a little over a week ago, and that was The American Canon, Harold Bloom. And this is, it's called The American Canon, Literary Genius from Emerson to Pynchon, 5 decades of writing on American literature. And it collects all of his most significant pieces on American authors, ranging from, we have Emerson here, Whitman, Dickinson, Emily Dickinson, Mark Twain, William Faulkner, and then all the way down, to Thomas Pynchon. Everybody is here. Everyone of extreme importance is here. And the way that Harold Bloom so very lovingly writes about every single one of them, even if he's not as passionate about some as about others and whatnot. Maybe he doesn't like F. Scott Fitzgerald's work as much as he liked Faulkner's or whatnot, but still, every single one of these writers gets his extremely passionate treatment. And it's an absolute delight to read. I've already I read the one on Catherine Ann Porter and on Tennessee Williams. That was just a cool little essay. I loved that. And I'm on the one right now, the first one in the collection, on Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it's endlessly fascinating. Endlessly so. It was compiled by David Mikix, I think that's his name. And this is a Library of America edition. It's one of their special editions, and it's just, I love it. I love everything about it. So this is another one I'm so happy to have. I just went on and was rewatching a couple of Steve Donahue's videos, and well, he reminded me that November is nonfiction November. That's the literary event for the month. And so, well, that's very good for me because I just got this and all of else, the other things you just saw. I mean, I have countless collections of essays here that I've been wanting to get to. But I've put them off for this month for Victober. And now, well, I can't wait to get into them. So, yeah, that is my Victober update. These are my new books. And my Preptober is going pretty well too. I've been plotting my novel still. It's looking to me, it really is, as if it definitely will be finished. The plot will be finished by the time I start NaNoWriMo. I'm very excited. I've never done this before. And I cannot wait to get to actually putting down the first 50,000 words of my novel. Hopefully more. Hopefully much more. And this is just, it's going to be fantastic. And again, I'm so happy to be a part of the booktube conversation. And now that I'm officially back, my channel's running it again, I hope to start some new conversations, continue on some old ones with you on my page. I've commented on quite a few of your guys' videos, and I appreciate all of your responses. I mean, it's been so interesting and so much fun. So, if all goes well, I will see you again tomorrow with maybe my first book review. I was thinking of one on William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. So, I will see you all tomorrow.